please share with me about your spiritual journey, Sonja?
Okay. It's so funny, like when you listen to all those people telling stories, and sometimes you really think like it's my story. What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah. I think when I have to think about the start, it's about like maybe 12 years old, something like that. I grew up in a small village, and I my best friend and me we had long hikes through the woods with her dog. And I think as a child, I didn't notice it, but it's not like many children don't grow up like that, with the connection with nature and just having a lot of silence just naturally. So I think that maybe was a good part in my childhood. And with 12, I started asking questions um, about religion. I grew up Catholic, not really strict Catholic, but we went to church every Sunday, and what I heard didn't make sense at all for me. And I started asking questions. And the funny thing was that I always could sense that on one hand, like there was a not lot of, in my opinion, a lot of nonsense going on what the priest said, but some texts or some mm, messages kind of uh, rang something in me. Like there was some truth. I don't know. It felt like that there was something in it, and so like going on, I kind of quit Christianity. I quit the church. I'm from Germany, so you have to pay taxes to the church here. So I kind of quit that, and then I traveled a lot, and I met the father of my first child, and he is Jewish, and so I started, like being interested in Judaism because for him it was also kind of important that maybe I would convert. So I told him, okay, I will check out that club, but I just left another one, so I'm not sure if I will join yours. And I really was seriously checking it out. I studied with a rabbi, like I mean, a little bit like Sex in the City. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
remember, it's
yeah.
really like that. It's not. So I decided in the end, no, no, thanks. But also there, I felt like a lot of texts, and especially going into Kabbalah and stuff like that, there was something, like I couldn't really grab it, but some stuff made sense, and I felt like some deeper truth. I don't know what. So that was that, and then we had our first child together. The relationship didn't work out, so we separated, and then I met the father of my two other children, and he's a Muslim. So the same thing. I mean, for him it was actually not important, but he didn't want me to go into Islam and stuff like that. But for me, it was interesting to know his background and to know more about this religion. So again, I studied a lot, dove into Sufism and stuff. And also, like I felt like organized religion is bullshit, but there's some stuff in the texts that, rang through. And then I was home with, yeah, first two small children, then three. And I couldn't go anymore during that time, I also like had a lot of connection with spirituality, Eastern spirituality, yoga, and stuff like that. I did a 10-day Vipassana in Thailand, which I think was one of the main points where something severely changed because it it shattered my whole um, view of the world and life, and what if is really all kind of a matrix. And um, so that was really intense. And during the Vipassana retreat, I really saw that, okay, if I'm taking in everything that is presented to me, it was a Buddhist monastery, and specialized in the Vipassanas for Westerners. So a lot of monks told, like they gave us introductions to Buddhism and stuff like that. So during those 10 days, I felt like either I'm losing my mind or I have to kind of skip a little bit of the stuff and just go with the stuff that I'm okay with. But the funny thing was, like, only half a year later, I started reading Osho and other, stuff where like everything was addressed what frightened me before. So yeah, that was that. And then during the time that I was home with the kids, I checked out the internet about all that stuff, and um, very fast I went into the non-dual stuff, because it interested me the most in a way. And that was, let's say, 20 years ago. And I watched then a lot of stuff that I watch now. And then it made sense, but I skipped to other things, like, I don't know, materializing stuff like vision boards and, Abraham Hicks, all that stuff that you also mentioned, like it's so strange. I really ask myself there's no red line. I mean, it's new stuff is coming up, and I'm interested in astrology, tarot. So yeah, I hopped from this to that, and I would say it was really a lot of seeking. I mean, I think it was not so um, driven with so much suffering, because I mean, on the same time, at the same time, I had like 3 kids, and I think they ground you a bit, because you cannot, go too far into stuff, because your everyday life has to work out. So I think they were my saviors, but yeah, it became kind of like annoying or frustrating to all the time have this feeling of, I don't get it, what are they talking about? And what you also sometimes mention, that it sounds sometimes really cruel, that you have this idea that someone has it and you don't have it, and you want to reach this state of this holy person or whatever. So yeah, that was that. And I think 2 years ago, and I cannot really tell you why. I mean, I think one other step was Course in Miracles. I started studying, and I felt another shift. Like I'm seeing like reality a little bit different than before. And then, but I quit it again. And then 2 years ago, I felt, only by talking with a good friend of mine, um, with whom I talk about stuff like that. I mean, there are not so many people that you can talk about that. Um, and so I suddenly felt like, okay, like this drive of searching, of checking out new stuff, and changed a little bit into just being, what do you say in English? Mm, More in a more childish, being interested in, like, neugierig. What is neugierig in English? Curious, a curiousness.
Yeah.
So a bit of this mm, seriousness went out. I don't know why, but it changed a little bit into this, let's see what's coming up or what life brings, you know? And now looking backwards, I think that was a big shift in my whole um, addressing stuff, you know, like it was more playful. And then um, going over like satsang and videos of people that I had a look at before, I suddenly David Bingham showed up again, and I binge watched his stuff, and then that I remember that it was the first time. I mean, I probably had heard it before, but this was the first time that I suddenly heard him saying that it's already there. It's not something to achieve. It's not something in the future in a different state after so and so many meditation hours every day or and then it clicked like, okay, that's the wrong perspective that I'm having, you know, like it can be achieved. Something has to be learned or practiced or something. That was really like I said, okay, wow, that's different. If it's already there, then something I still thought, I mean, then it's something I don't get in the way of getting it. And then from him, I came to, I don't know, Anna Brown, I think. And then I heard Anna Brown's interview with Emerson.
Oh, did they do one?
Yeah, they did one.
Oh, I'll have to look that up. That would be interesting.
They did one. Yeah, it was funny.
Okay.
It was funny. And then I mean, Anna Brown is quite, you know, like she's so straightforward, but still in the way that I was used to. And then Emerson's approach was a little bit. I felt like, whoop, that's different. What is he saying? You know, like.
Mhm.
And then I checked his channel out, and then I saw an interview with him and Annie. I don't even know her last name. She's American but lives in Austria. And she mentioned, I mean, I contacted her, and since then we had like 3 or 4 talks, just like that, you know, in the evening sometimes. And she mentioned you and your
Okay.
channel. And then, yeah, I checked out your TikTok channel, and then I saw that you also were in YouTube. And since then, I watched quite some of your one-on-ones and also your shorts, which I like a lot. Um, yeah, and I like yeah, I like your way of putting it, and a lot of clicks happened. Um, yeah,
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
yeah, long story.
Yeah.
But I think everyone has, I mean, in a way, it seems so. Is it connected? Does it make sense? I don't know. But it's
Yeah.
interesting, like that. In many stories, I think there are so many similarities. But as you mentioned, also that recently you have a lot of people that don't have any clue about non-duality, never heard about that, or even spirituality, and so
Yeah. Because it has nothing to do with really what you think.
no,
It's not really about that.
no.
It's just about seeing what's always here.
Right.
Yeah. So what are you seeking for?
I think this person wants to get it, but
Yeah.
uh, as intellectually, I know that I'm not the person. Um, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you some questions now. and you're welcome to answer me with words, but see where the questions take you on the experiential level. You
Right.
don't have to answer if you don't want to or you don't feel to. You're welcome to share anything that comes up.
Great.
Okay. So let's just start by taking a nice long breath in and out. And just in this moment, what's here without any effort?
I would say pulsation.
Yeah. Does it take any effort to make your hair grow?
No.
Does it take any effort to hear the sounds that are coming out of my mouth right now? Does it take any effort to just be alive right now in this moment? Yeah. We just kind of find ourselves in this middle of existence. It's just life happening around us. And right now, there's basically no effort at all, right? We're just here. Yeah. So, what are you without language? You just take a moment to look around and experience without the words or the labels.
It's crazy how fast the mind tries to put a name tag on everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why I think it's in nature, it's a little bit easier because there are not so many things that you can name.
Yeah. So, what are you without your story right now?
Just here.
In what sense is that?
I don't know. Because of if I follow what, the question what is sensing that. I have to go in the mind.
Mhm. Yeah. Does it have a center?
No.
Does it have a beginning or an end that you can find?
It's like my mind blanks out and then beginning and end doesn't make any more sense.
Yeah. 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 So in that blankness, does that blankness need anything from you? Can you turn it off?
I can allow the mind to cover it,
Hmm.
it seems.
Yeah. Can you turn it off?
No.
Yeah. So just in this moment, where is your identity? Where is Sonja? What are you without that sound, Sonja?
I see the mind grabbing for the next.
Yeah, good. But where
Telling
is
me
it?
that in the next I need the Sonja.
Where is the next?
Yeah, I see that the next is really like made up by the mind.
Yeah. What are you without the next?
this not knowing anything.
Yeah. How are you feeling right now?
Relaxed.
There's nothing hiding on you. There's not a more real, truer version of you that exists in a different moment. There's only thoughts telling stories about a different moment, about what is not.
Mhm.
But this is what is, undeniably what is. Nothing more, nothing less. No statements need to be written or grand poetry, special words that help us to become more of what is. Doesn't need to be understood. It can't be understood. It's just what is. It's just lived.
I think that the whole string of going into understanding is kind of the blockage.
Exactly. Because the concepts can only take one so far. But what we're in now is the non-conceptual. It's it doesn't need a concept. It can have one, and we can call it the ultimate truth.
Yeah, but I
Right.
see that it has nothing, actually, this word ultimate truth has nothing to do with it. I mean,
Yeah. This is the truth beyond all concepts of truth. It's where the concept of truth can't go. It's just lived. It's meant to be lived. It's meant to be what is directly, what is only here, only now, only what's happening.
and I see that when, like this sentence, nothing changes, everything is the same. It's true and it's not true. I mean, it's the same, but without all this noise.
Yeah. And a lot of it comes down to the belief in the I, right? Because the mind will say, like, I think, I feel, I want. So there's a thought I, a mental construct that's associating itself with doing, with verbs. But when you look for that I on its own, where's the I that wants to awaken right now?
I don't find it if I don't use the mind.
Yeah, just a word.
Word and stories attached to it, right? Like stories about the past and the future.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it's empty. There's actually nothing behind it. There's not an I here that's thinking, that's feeling. There's just a thought that says, want, I want. And so we imagine I see, I think, I, feel, but it's not two things, right? Not two. The mind creates the duality.
Right, but there seems to be a, I don't know, how do you say that? Compression or a density
Mhm.
that the I kind of attaches to.
Where do you feel the density?
Around here.
You feel the density here? Okay. So what are you without that labeling that this density is I?
Yeah, I can see that it's a sensation,
Yeah.
and the I seems to be learned. I mean, that's the sensation is an I, but I can doubt that. Let's say.
Mhm. Yeah, so go directly to the sensation and just be with it, but take away any interpretation about it.
Mhm.
What are you without the I?
Again, there's only this pulsation. There's a high tone. Sounds like electric wires.
Yeah.
It's really trippy.
Yeah. Just like an intimacy with what is, but no reference points, nowhere to land, no center,
Yeah,
just,
that free falling.
yeah,
And I see that like there's not intense fear, but there's a little fear sneaking in to, like me as a mom. I'm responsible. There are kids that are relying on me. What if I'm
yeah,
free falling? I have to be in control.
right.
Crazy.
Yeah. Do you feel the fear physically or is it just mental right now?
Um, it's more mental.
I must be identified in order to keep my children safe.
Right,
Must be constantly in story.
right.
But what's between story and no story? There's a space here that allows for both. There's a space here that continues to effortlessly be here if there's story or no story. Doesn't change the instincts of the body, the responses to the environment. That's also a product of creation.
And I see now that it's already, I mean, it is the whole time like this, but most of the time, we kind of like go into the mind and then it's kind of covered.
Exactly. It's like the thoughts are telling you imagination about what isn't. Typically the past and the future, or some kind of interpretation, some judgment, positive or negative.
And also about like this, I'm in control. I mean, I did that, this thought,
Yeah, yeah,
like the sports reporter, like telling everyone what happened just now because of him.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's a that's if we go into the intellectual um, part in that. That for me is really, really um, that was a big relief. Hearing, even if not seeing, but hearing that everything happened already all the time like that. That it's just an imagination that I'm in control and I'm the one who is responsible for my, I mean, you know what I mean, responsible for my kids and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that's such a relief that I know that
yeah.
Life takes care.
Such a relief.
Because then it means I cannot mess it up.
Yeah. There's just a natural response to the environment, right? Conditioning meets circumstance.
I cannot mess it up because there's no I.
There's no you to mess it up, right? It's just like a tree being like, "Oh, I didn't grow as tall as that other tree. There's something wrong with me." Or I grew so tall. I'm special. I'm closer to the heavens. But it's just the environment that is around it, forming it, shaping it. And that can feel scary to the mind sometimes because it has created fears about life and has created stories and projections that it feels it needs to keep itself safe from.
Right.
But the fears were just imagined in the first place. And that's really what caused the issues was the imagination. And then the attempting to cope with that imagination by more strategies and more thoughts and more future oriented thinking and being.
I mean, the mind cannot imagine a life without responsibility and planning and working hard and achieving and being safe,
Yeah.
daring to be safe.
Yeah. And all of that can still happen, but there's just a dissolving of the illusion that it was all up to you, that there was a you that it was up to.
So that you're saying like there's planning, but from no one.
Yeah.
There's planning happening.
Yeah. Planning happening now,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's obviously an evolutionary advantage that we're able to conceptualize the future and remember the past like it's a survival advantage.
To
So
learn from like things that happened. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, winter's coming. I gotta prepare food. I gotta, stockpile and harvest. And yeah, I mean, the thinking mind is huge value, but it gets away on us. Yeah. So use the function of your mind. Like I love to talk. I love to talk and meet people and yeah, do word games even and play, but it's not here to tell you who you are because you already are it. Doesn't need a middleman.
Mm-hmm. And it's not even only the middleman. I think it feels like half of half of the main name tags that it puts on things and is constructing the separation through the difference in things, it's not really true. I mean, who says that like all the I mean because there is also the value system by putting name tags. That's better, that's worse, you know. It's
Yeah, right. But if you take away language, what is good and bad?
right.
Is a tree more good than another tree? Or you take away time. take away the past and future, what is more or less? Just the
So
mind.
what the mind comes up with now is that, okay, you just said that it's a good evolutionary thing that the mind helps us to plan, let's say, right? So there has to be a value in validation and um, stuff like better and worse, because maybe it will help us if we see
Yeah,
that's a bad person and that's a good person, we kind of like don't get into contact with a bad person.
exactly. But and it's fine to have that capacity. Um, but that's also kind of like a translation of reality. So on one level, yeah, we would, when we would use words, we would say that's a bad person. I understand that that person is going to harm me. I don't want to go there. That's kind of the story, which we have access to. But at the other level, well, not really a level, but at the same time, there is just only what's appearing now. So I'm not saying to disregard the story, to disregard the labels, but there's kind of like an opening up now, or a clear seeing of what is without the translation, what is without the right and wrong. So it's not about one is bad, one is good, one is more spiritual, one is more human. It's both at the same time. It's like an in between. So at the same time, yeah, the character is not real, but at the other, there's also the Sonja experience that you're having, or that's there for you. So it's both. It's form and void. It's time and no time.
Right, but for now, for me it feels like I'm more used to this Sonja perspective, right? Experiencing everything, having the idea that I'm in control, and this other perspective that I see that it was all the time behind that, or it's is all the time behind that, but that's kind of new to me,
Yeah.
let's say. Okay,
Yeah.
so like, okay, of course that's an intellectual thing, but I think that to get more used to this, I have to kind of like put away the other perspective, at least for a while. That's how I understand you. Like you are in a so complicated language, but you are in a state that you kind of can um, navigate between the two perspectives. But for me, it seems like if I allow the Sonja perspective, I'm immediately, whoops, back into the Sonja perspective. That's how it feels. You understand
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I'm not solid and I'm not, hmm. It seems like I have to practice this perspective, which is not a perspective, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's fine. And I say, really, there's a clear seeing, basically. It's if correct me if I'm wrong, but in this session, there's something that's opening up that you're
Right,
seeing. Yeah.
right.
Okay, good, good. This, we could call it no self, we could call it whatever, clarity. Um, Initially, yeah, you can notice, the biggest thing I would say is notice when the mind is trying to pull you into the future,
Mm-hmm. The next.
right? Notice when you're going into the story. Okay. And it's fine if you do, but we do this work so that we can make our lives better, right? So that we can find happiness and contentment in what is.
Right.
But the story is kind of what isn't. And so noticing when that, pattern is playing out, it doesn't, you can follow it or you can opt out now. It's like there's a crack in the story that's kind of, there's some light shining through now. And whereas before, where the only option was to just follow the story, it's like, oh no, that's a story. I'm actually safe. I'm actually just right here now. There's something here that doesn't need words, that doesn't need a story in order to be real. Right. So you can notice that. You can also ask yourself, like, what am I without language? Or what am I without the I?
Are there situations where you see that it's better to go with the story or you need the story for this situation?
Um, I don't know. I think it just would depend. I mean, in social situations, that's typically when the character is the strongest.
Sure.
But even that's just kind of happening on autopilot,
Okay.
right? So yeah, I mean, just kind of let it unfold. And that's what these sessions are for. And what the videos and stuff to watch that is can help kind of clear you up. But it really is just the simplicity of meeting what is, but there's no you to meet what is. It's really just what's left over when the story falls away.
Right. Right.